we're going to go into Bob's bad tweets because I feel like this is where the Ozzy's criticism of La Russa sort of begins and all the speculation begins. So our good friend Bob Nightingale also considered, at least I know I had considered him a bit of a White Sox insider when he did break the news to the nation that La Russa was going to be the manager, and we were like, oh, come on, whatever. And then it was fact. Later on, he's lost a lot of respect because I still have not seen Eduardo Escobar play an inning for the White Sox, and there's been
Bob reported that on several occasions that Eduardo Escobar was your second baseman.
It's a done deal, Smitty. So I don't know how much of an insider he is, other than he was able to extract that information before anyone else. So, or he had a good enough tip that because Bob likes to, we all know this because we made a segment, Bob's bad tweets. He likes to just throw stuff out there sometimes and hope it sticks.
Usually poorly worded, missing punctuation, or
missing keywords.
Yeah.
Much like John Heyman does sometimes about selling people. But anyway, so Bob basically in an article that got summarized and blew up the Twitter sphere, both on a national, somewhat national, and obviously White Sox Twitter, that there was unrest in the White Sox locker room.
That was the quote. Unrest was the term he used.
Yeah.
It was almost like this is the end of a long column, just news and notes about across all of Major League Baseball, and at the end, he threw in that about the White Sox. And I thought you had an interesting reaction to that, or breakdown of what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I thought he was merely giving his opinion, because it talks about how they have underperformed. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But it needs to be said, if your article's rapid, his article is about like first halves and what was going on with teams, and they have underperformed, and that, he was also talking not only unrest, but that there were like cliques within the locker room, and groups were forming and plotting, and things were happening. And and I think that kind of fed into this whole new thing that we were just talking about a little while ago, about how, wow, no one's reacting to there's no excitement on the White Sox bench.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because all these little cliques, whatever. And
I think people got hung up on the word unrest. And
yeah.
I think that was just a poor word choice by Nightengale. I think of unrest as like in Godfather 2, when the Cuban Revolution is about to happen. They're trying to get the fuck out. Like, that is unrest, when people are blowing themselves up with grenades and people are dying in the streets. That's unrest.
There was civil war in the White Sox locker room.
To describe any baseball clubhouse's situation with unrest just seems kind of ridiculous. I think a better word would maybe turmoil. I mean, maybe that's even too strong. Or just, I think lifeless would be one way to that people were characterizing. And I think he was just trying to throw in a sentence about the White Sox, and it was kind of like how a lot of people were viewing that things weren't quite right. But unrest seemed like a ridiculous word choice by a professional journalist who's paid to be a wordsmith. So nice work, Bob.
My take on it was, why would anyone even believe a word he said? Because simply what I just mentioned, have you seen Eduardo Escobar playing inning for the White Sox yet? I mean, and again, like I was saying before, to me, it was like something I would bring up on, or anyone would bring up on a podcast. There's obviously like, you're not winning.
Right.
You're trying to find your way in a season that you thought you should have been a lot more like last year at this point, where you were kind of just maybe not running away with the AL Central, but you were in first place right now, at least by a few games. Maybe you're in Minnesota's position and you're 2.5 up on Minnesota and 4 games up on the Guardians, but whatever it is, it's like the season has not gone the way they wanted it to go. So of course it's not going to be all like freaking hunky dory. And Ozzy did start in by, when he was asked about Bob's bad tweets, he was saying, winning fixes all your problems,
Right.
and the locker room
winning is fun. Fun is winning.
Yeah,
That was his
yeah,
famous quote years ago.
exactly. Yeah, and he said obviously the locker room's not going to be happy, but he's like I don't know. I personally, he did say, he said, I personally have not seen when I visited the locker room any sort of behavior like this.
Unrest. He
Yeah.
didn't see any unrest.
The story started to unfold too because Stone was going on to the Score, and he's friends with Bob Nightengale because they both live in Arizona. And he called Bob Nightengale before his appearance on the Score, and Bob wouldn't return his phone call. So,
Okay.
so Stone, Stone went on the Score. He's like, hey, I reached out to Bob Nightengale, and what I can report is Bob has not called me back. And like everyone kind of chuckled. And, Stone reiterated kind of what Ozzy said. He said, you got a team who's not performing to the caliber that they think they should be. It's not going to be perfect in the locker room. But again, he's like, I haven't seen any of this, whatever. The next day, Bob Nightengale was on Parkinson and Spiegel. And I listened to it. I went back and listened to it. Like I rewound and listened to it.
I think it's Parkinson and Spiegel.
Oh, did I say Parkinson? I'm sorry.
It doesn't sound quite right, but I like it.
Apologies. Wow. Apologies. Parkins and Spiegel. Disease and Spiegel. No, Parkins and Spiegel. And he didn't they asked him about it directly, and he just didn't answer it really. He kind of talked in circles. I don't know if you heard it all, but he just kind of talked in circles, didn't, obviously didn't give a name or anything. And
that's where, how did Dallas Keuchel's name get attributed to this? That's the part I'm missing.
Courtesy of Liam Hendricks. Liam Hendricks was interviewed, and he said he has no doubt in his mind that any source within the locker room came from Dallas Keuchel,
a former player
who had a pretty bad ending. And I had speculated that he was not liked. I mean, and maybe this is part of that coming to life. I mean, I felt like that whole situation when Tim committed those errors, like they were jawing at each other in the mound. I still was I was thinking maybe he was flipping off Dallas Keuchel,
there's something there.
Not the Cleveland fans. I don't know. Or was that Minnesota? I can't remember. But
if he's not liked, then maybe he felt like there was a clique that was excluding him. So So therefore his experience and his reality was there are cliques within the locker room, of which he was not part of the cool kid clique. So, and now he's no longer a White Sox. So he might not be in the major leagues for very long, considering what he's doing in Arizona these days. So
he's ex-White Sox players are blasting off against him like Yerman Mercedes, taking him deep.
Word Hole Media.